Coming up at 6, an Oakland man putting pressure on the city to clean up a street that has turned into a dumping ground.
They just pile on to the trash that's already there.
Why he says the city is choosing to ignore a block that's been an eyesore for years. Plus, starting off fall with a blast of intense heat.
If you're not out here on a regular basis, there's no way you can handle it.
Then the weather whiplash. We're tracking the potential thunderstorms heading our way. And another jewelry store hit by a swarm of thieves. But this time, it's how they got out of the store that has neighbors so stunned. And later, the life of Willie Mays on display and up for sale.
These are his gold gloves.
We'll take you inside the auction of the Say Hey Kids memorabilia.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening. For decades, the city of Oakland has struggled with a huge illegal dumping problem. People seemingly come from all over the Bay Area to dispose of their trash on the streets and sidewalks. In some cases, it sits there for months, even years. It's particularly bad at 71st Avenue and International Boulevard, about a mile from the Coliseum. Families often walk down 71st to get to one of the many schools nearby. The city has set up a citizen hotline to report dumping, but one East Oakland resident told our John Ramos that in his neighborhood, it feels like it's all just for show.
It's not exactly breaking news that the city of Oakland has an illegal dumping problem, but that may be a problem in and of itself. The people who live in this neighborhood say this giant pile of trash has been here so long, they don't think the city is ever going to clean it up.
People pull up, dump the trash, and as you can see, anybody that wants to use the sidewalk, it's impossible. It's eliminated.
Ansel Troy lives a few blocks from 71st Avenue in Oakland, but he's become something of a crusader for the narrow one-way street.
So what happens is they just pile on to the trash that's already there. And I've been documenting this for the entire month of September.
Ansel thought his social media post for the past month would embarrass City Hall into removing the mess. But another neighbor named Steve says it's been here a lot longer than that.
This trash has been here for like almost 2 years, and I've been reporting it on the 311. That doesn't help.
Oakland set up a citizen hotline, Oak 311, to report such problems, and Ansel did that. And he got this response on Monday, closing his report, saying the matter had been addressed. But, of course, the trash is still here.
I guess I'm wondering, are they lying to me intentionally? Did somebody make a mistake? I don't see how you could miss all this.
But he's really disgusted by what happened on Friday. As part of a newspaper article touting the success of the county's anti-dumping efforts, a city crew was photographed removing debris from the corner of 71st and International Boulevard. But after the photo op was over, the crew left without touching the trash on 71st Ave, just 30 feet away.
They want us to highlight the farmers market and the lake and the soccer games, but they don't want to really address this.
There are some homeless people living on the block, but they say they want it cleaned up as well, since they usually get the blame for it. One woman named Star said people arrive in trucks to unload the trash.
We clean up all the time, but they just come and put more garbage. And my other little friend, she homeless too. She be going cussing them out. No, y'all ain't gonna put that right there. And I be saying, calm down, calm down. We can't stop them people. But they do it even more and more.
Ansel is fed up. He says it's absurd to think that this would be allowed to exist in any wealthier part of town.
We deserve our neighborhoods to be just as clean as any other area. And for a city that talks about equity, right, where is the equity when it comes to addressing this?
Ansel believes allowing the pile of trash to linger sends a message that it's okay to dump here. And he thinks a lot of his neighbors have also been convinced that they don't deserve anything better.
No one from the city responded to our request for comment today. All right, let's turn to our first alert weather. The first full day of fall certainly did not feel like it. The Bay Area dealing with a one-day spike in heat. So the pink and red colors on this map, they're showing the temps reaching into the 80s and 90s. It was the hottest day of the year in San Francisco, by the way. But those inland areas really baked. That includes Walnut Creek, where we saw kids just playing in the shade and staying hydrated. And then at a sand volleyball court where players were taking some extra precautions, wearing socks so they didn't get burned by the hot sand.
The sand is so hot, it gives you blisters if you stand on it for any longer than a few minutes. So socks are mandatory out here right now.
Another side effect of the heat, we saw hazy skies all over the Bay Area. Today, the Bay Area is under a spare the air alert. The Santa Clara Valley expected to have the worst air, with pollution levels considered unhealthy for children, seniors, or people with heart or lung conditions. And then with all that said, tomorrow is a first alert day for another reason entirely. Say goodbye to this heat, get ready for potential thunder and lightning. So let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Paul Hagan. Boy, this is some serious weather whiplash.
Yeah, this is an abrupt shift from temperatures that flirted with 100 degrees on the high end of the spectrum today to a chance of showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. Let's talk about the heat first. It did get up to 100 degrees even in Livermore. Fell just short of that in Concord at 99 degrees. Temperature in San Francisco, the hottest so far in 2025 at 88. That's almost 10 degrees short of today's record high temperature of 97 degrees. And that was kind of the theme. Temperatures were hot, but really not that close to record territory. And at the coast, only 68 degrees for a high temperature for Half Moon Bay. We are going to see that change kicking in as we head through tonight and into tomorrow. Let's look at the statewide perspective here. I want to track the approach of that moisture first with the radar replay over the past 6 hours. And you can see some showers making their way up the coast. Gradually, that moisture is going to make its way over land. So let's switch over to Futurecast, and we'll go from tonight through tomorrow. You can see the moisture hitting areas to our south first, but then moving up into the South Bay by sunrise and across the rest of the Bay Area as we head through the day on Wednesday. The farther north you go, your odds of anything more than a trace of rainfall, they go down significantly. We're really going to be on the northern fringe of the system, but it's a chance of rain in September, and it does come along with the potential chance of cloud-to-ground lightning. Usually this time of the year, that would mean the threat of new wildfires, but these thunderstorms are actually going to be producing rain. All the areas shaded in green, where the Storm Prediction Center has outlined a risk of what they call general thunderstorms, which means storms that produce cloud-to-ground lightning and rainfall, but without the severe weather potential that we would usually see in other parts of the country. But you don't want to be outside when that lightning is in the area. We'll take a closer look at just the Bay Area and time it out hour by hour as we head through the day tomorrow and into tomorrow night. It's coming up in just a few minutes.
Paul, thank you. In San Jose, a power pole caught fire and spread into a backyard. We could actually see firefighters on both sides of a fence dividing two properties. The fire caused major damage to a shed and yard, as well as minor damage to a detached garage. This all happened just before 3 this afternoon. The fire broke out near the intersection of Sunny Vista Drive and Peachtree Lane. Luckily, the flames never spread to any of the main homes and no one was hurt. San Jose Fire says today's heat and the ongoing electrical output made the flames more difficult to contain. PG&E crews arrived at the scene just a bit later to de-energize the neighborhood's electrical lines. Fire crews put out the flames about 30 minutes later, just after 4 o'clock. We heard from Dan, who lives across the street, called 911 when he saw the smoke.
Just heard some loud pops and looked out the window and saw flames coming up behind the house.
So San Jose Fire says they believe the fire was caused by a blown transformer. They expect power to remain shut off in the neighborhood for the next several hours. So on a hot day like this, fire danger is on the minds of residents in the Oakland Hills, but they have some more peace of mind now that 2 designated fire stations are open again just in time for peak wildfire season. Station 25 in Joaquin Miller Park and Station 28 on Grass Valley Road temporarily shut down in January because of the city's budget shortfall. But now, for the first time in 20 years, all Oakland fire stations are up and running.
It's a huge boost to the department, morale-wise, but also just in the terms of safety for the community.
Station 10 in the Grand Lake neighborhood also reopened. It shut down 3 years ago for renovations. Oakland Fire says community pressure was key to getting support they needed to reopen these stations. The man who firebombed a UC Berkeley police car and said he was inspired by the 2023 Hamas attack on Israel has been sentenced to nearly 2 decades in prison. It was on June 1st, 2024, Casey Robert Goonan placed a bag of 6 Molotov cocktails underneath a patrol car, setting it on fire and then running away. He also tried to firebomb the Ronald V. Dellums Federal Building in Oakland 11 days later and lit other fires on UC Berkeley's campus before his arrest on June 17th. In January, he pled guilty to one count of maliciously damaging or destroying property by means of fire or explosives. He was then sentenced to 19 years in prison. At the sentencing, the judge referred to him as a domestic terrorist. All right, on to this. Look at this wild cell phone video. This is out of San Ramon of a daytime smash and grab robbery. This is at a jewelry store. Devin Feely joining me now to break down exactly what we're seeing. Devin.
Yeah, Jules, police say the smash and grab robbery happened just before 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon at the Heller Jewelers at City Center and Bishop Ranch. Investigators say that roughly 20 people were involved. The suspect entered the store, breaking display cases and taking the items inside. But when they tried to leave, they found that the door was locked, and the thieves then beat on the door for a couple of seconds. But that didn't work. Someone pulled out a gun and fired several shots, shattering the glass and allowing them to escape. The thieves booked it to 5 waiting cars and peeled out of the parking lot. No one was hurt. Law enforcement officers pursued the suspects, but eventually called off the chase. Now, the good news is police were able to track some of those suspects to Dublin and Oakland. There is no word at this point about how many people were ultimately arrested. Jules?
Yeah, that was a huge group. And to the person that was taking that cell phone video, they were mighty brave. Thank you, Devin. Appreciate it. All right, still ahead right here at 6. One of the East Bay's largest cities set to lower the speed limits on a number of major roads. Plus, an inside look at the auction with items from across the life of Willie Mays. How it will benefit a cause that was near to the Giants legend's heart.
It's amazing. This is all the coolest stuff you'll ever see.
Concord could be telling drivers to slow down. Tonight, the City Council is expected to approve lowering the speed limit on 20 streets. So here's a map of the areas that would actually see the speed limit reduced by 5 miles per hour. It includes some major streets like Clayton Road, Concord Avenue, and Oak Grove, Alberta Way, which includes Clayton Valley Charter High School, and that would drop by 10 miles per hour. The council unanimously approved the ordinance on its first reading last month. So one interesting twist, the proposal actually raises the speed limit on a few residential streets, but the city says that is in order to comply with a state law. So if approved again tonight, it would be at least 30 days before it takes effect. So the world's first ban on filtered cigarettes, it's starting to go into effect in Santa Cruz County. The Board of Supervisors approved the ban last October on one condition. 2 other local governments needed to pass similar measures. So those requirements have now been met. The city of Santa Cruz and the city of Capitola, they both approved the ban this year. The county and city of Santa Cruz will begin enforcement in January of 2027, with Capitola following later that year. County officials said cigarette butts are the single most common form of litter. They claim this policy will lower pollution, reduce cleanup costs, and support businesses depending on a clean environment. It's been more than a year since Giants legend Willie Mays died, and a unique auction is underway for some of his memorabilia. It is expected to generate millions as fans are getting a chance to see some of the Say Hey Kids prized possessions this week. It's all for a good cause that was close to Mays' heart. Kenny Choi has more on who will benefit from the much anticipated auction.
From signed Louis Vuitton leather-bound notebooks to game-worn cleats, baseballs, and bats, hundreds of Willie Mays' personal memorabilia collection are being auctioned off.
This was one of the most decorated defensive players in the history of baseball. These are his gold gloves.
Dave Hunt is president of Hunt Auctions. Some 900 items are up for bid.
All tell part of a story of Willie's life, from Westfield, Alabama, and the Negro Leagues all the way up to later in life being an ambassador for the game of baseball.
Giants fan Vinny Lazzarini wanted to see the collection in person and pay tribute to the legend who burst onto the scene with the New York Giants in 1951. Mays went on to hit 660 home runs, win 2 MVPs, and collect 24 All-Star appearances.
It's amazing. This is all the coolest stuff you'll ever see. Willie lived 10 lifetimes, so He's got everything here.
Including Mays' 1954 New York Giants World Series ring, expected to fetch at least $500,000 according to Hunt. Whether you're a bidder or not, anyone can take a look.
We want people to come in and just experience these things, even if they don't want to bid. Even if you just want to learn a little bit about Willie Mays and his life and what he accomplished.
All proceeds, estimated to be in the millions, will benefit the Say Hey Foundation to help underserved youth in the Bay and across the country.
We honor the wishes of the player that's selling the things with us. And Willie always wanted this to go to help get young people a better start than he had from Westfield, Alabama.
Hunt says not all of Mays' possessions are being auctioned and that Mays Foundation will have items to showcase.
We're so happy that Willie wanted to do this and wanted to do good for others, and we are very honored to be a part of that, and hopefully that will raise an enormous amount of money for the foundation he cared about so much.
It's the Say Hey Kids parting gift for the kids.
Willie Mays' son, Michael Mays, has publicly expressed opposition to some of the items being auctioned, including Mays' Presidential Medal of Freedom. Online bidding continues throughout the week with the live auction across the street from Oracle Park happening on Saturday. All right, coming up, we hope you enjoyed this warm-up because it's all about to change big time. Paul looks ahead to the potential storms, also what's in store for the rest of the week. All right, the heat is on and it's not topsy-turvy weather.
Yeah.
But first things first, when you do your dog walking forecast, we completely appreciate that. But I guess my kids took it to heart. Walked the dogs yesterday. They got sprayed by a skunk. I came home last night and the garage and the dogs and the house. Now, I'm not blaming you. It sounds like I am.
Yeah,
But
what did I do?
I know. But have you ever had that happen?
Oh, knock on wood, no.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh.
Leo has rolled around in some other
Okay, well,
things.
yeah. Anyway, well, we have a lot to talk about weather-wise, but when it comes to dog walking forecast, just be careful with them out there.
Oh, and it was hot today.
Yes.
I'm sure that just made it,
Soupy. It's bad. Okay, anyway.
I'm so sorry that made it just smell that much
I
worse.
just wanted you to say sorry. Thanks.
Yeah, I sympathize. Let's take a look at what's happening out there right now. Temperatures, it's still warm around the bay and hot inland. 80 degrees in San Francisco, still 83 in Oakland. Those numbers are going to drop pretty quickly as we head through this evening with still 90s inland. It's still 97 degrees right now in Livermore and in Concord. But tomorrow's going to be a whole different story. Tomorrow's high temperatures are going to be a good 15 to 25 degrees cooler than what we saw today because of the influence of this storm system that is pushing moisture up from the south. This is the version of the satellite view that lets us track the amount of water vapor that is in the air, just the amount of raw moisture. And you can see the brighter whites indicating some additional moisture right along the coast. And the storm system pushing that up in our direction is going to have much more of an impact on our weather as we head through tomorrow and tomorrow night. So let's take a look at the up close view, and we'll go into the Bay Area map and track the radar simulation from one of the forecast models. We'll stop along the way. Let's go from 11 o'clock tonight through 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. And there's not much on the map until right before the sun comes up. We are going to see some moisture beginning to approach from the south, but still just the far southern reaches of Santa Clara County are going to be seeing those first showers hitting the ground before sunrise tomorrow, with some showers in the Santa Cruz Mountains as well. The rain spreads out as we head through tomorrow morning. This takes us from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. and the showers and thunderstorms push farther and farther to the north. Whenever there's a thunderstorm, just stay inside. Thunder lets you know the lightning is close enough to be a threat, so just stay inside any kind of sturdy structure until the storm passes by. Some locally heavy downpours aren't going to last long enough to lead to any kind of flooding threat, but they will result in some slick roads. From 11 a.m. tomorrow through 5 p.m., the showers and thunder showers become a little less impressive. We're going to see it lifting to the north, and we're going to be on the northern edge of this storm system's influence. So as the storms lift farther and farther north, they just kind of lose their punch as we head through tomorrow evening. Still some showers over the North Bay, but they become more miss than hit. And then everything kind of reverses course. From 11 o'clock tomorrow through 11 a.m. on Thursday, well, the showers and a few thunder showers drift from north to south as the storm system begins to pull farther off to our east. A lot of different directions going on. It's just an unsettled pattern tomorrow and tomorrow night, but we should be drying out as we head through the day on Thursday. So as we look at how much rain we expect, the amounts are going to be modest, but it's September. We don't expect a lot of rain out of this. Generally, 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 inch on a general basis, with higher amounts farther to the south. Monterey and Saline is picking up more than 1/2 inch of total rainfall just because they're closer to the more abundant moisture. Dog walking forecast for tomorrow comes from Petaluma, Lily's Legacy, and George, who Doesn't look like anything's going to wipe that smile off his face. Temperatures aren't going to be a problem for him, but he might have to dodge those afternoon showers. We'll put up a link to George's adoptable information as soon as we finish this weathercast. But let's talk about tomorrow's temperatures quickly, which are going to be much cooler than the temperatures that we had today. We're only going to get up into the 70s and 80s on a widespread basis. 70s in San Jose, 80s for Los Gatos and Morgan Hill. Temperatures elsewhere, again, you see the splotchy pattern indicating where the rain is going to fall according to the forecast models. But this is a whole lot closer to where we're supposed to be. In fact, it's below average for high temperatures tomorrow. So back to more of a typical September weather pattern. Here's a look at the forecast as we head through the next 7 days. And tomorrow's our alert day because of that cloud-to-ground lightning threat and some heavy downpours with slick roads. And then temperatures kind of settle into more of a typical range. Hottest day will be Friday, but then we get into the upper 70s for highs over the weekend for inland parts of the Bay Area. Quick check of the Bayside forecast and also returning to closer to reasonable early autumn levels, including low 70s Saturday and Sunday. Weekend's looking really nice for the last weekend in September. Jules?
I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Actually.
Well, you clean your dogs.
Yeah, exactly. With tomato soup, I think that's what the thing is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, anyway, when we come back.
Good luck.
Jimmy Kimmel returns from his suspension tonight. We'll hear from a former late-night writer on the extra pressure his staff is facing. Have you heard? Jimmy Kimmel's late night show returns tonight. Fans lined up outside the Hollywood studio, getting ready for the first taping in nearly a week. So Kimmel's show was pulled last Wednesday over comments he made about the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. So the suspension sparked national debate and protests over freedom of speech. Earlier today on CBS News 24/7, I spoke with comedian and former Saturday Night Live writer Hugh Fink on the pressure Kimmel and his writing staff are facing tonight.
It's more challenging in the sense that when you're aware that more people are watching your show than normal, that puts pressure on because you want those people who've never seen the show before to walk away and go, wow, I love this show. I want to watch more. So that's a responsibility. Secondly, when you've been taken off the air and then suddenly put back on the air, then you're going to be more thoughtful about, well, what's the message I want to communicate to the people who took me off the air, as well as to the people who I'm entertaining on camera and in the studio audience.
Not everyone will get to see tonight's broadcast. Despite ABC's decision to bring Kimmel back, two local TV giants said they will keep the show off their stations. Nexstar Media Group and Sinclair Broadcast Group collectively control about a quarter of ABC affiliates. All right, CBS EV News is next on KPIX. Local news always streaming on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. We're back right here in 30 minutes with more news at 7 o'clock. See you then.